Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, edited by Adil Falahi. Muhammad ibn Ali Zainul Abidin ibn al-Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abu Talib was a scholar of high achievement, respected by all great scholars of his time, including figures of lasting heritage such as Abu Hanifa and Malik. He is better known as Muhammad al-Baqir. The Shia consider him to be fifth in the list of their 12 Imams, while his father Ali Zainul Abidin was fourth and his grandfather Al-Hussein was third. However, all Muslim scholars of both the Sunni and the Shia school agree that he was a scholar of the highest caliber. Muhammad al-Baqir took over the position of top scholarship after his father's death. Indeed, his home was a necessary call for all scholars visiting Medina. All wanted to learn from him. Among his visitors were famous scholars like Sufyan al-Thawri, Sufyan ibn Uyayna, the top hadith scholar in Makkah, and also Abu Hanifa. He would discuss with his visitors their views and point out to them any mistake that they might have made. We have a report of a discussion between him and Abu Hanifa, which illustrates this quality and shows the fact that he did not only learn from the scholars of Medina, but followed all that was going on in the other main centers of scholarship in the Muslim world, particularly Iraq. Abu Hanifa was renowned for his reliance on analogy in deducing rulings on questions and issues put to him. Some scholars were unhappy about this, and they were criticizing him. When he met Muhammad al-Baqir, the following dialogue ensued. Muhammad al-Baqir, are you the one who changed my grandfather's religion and his tradition on the basis of analogy? Abu Hanifa, before I answer, please sit down in your place so that I may sit in my place. To me, you have the same position of honor that belonged to the Prophet when he sat with his companion. Muhammad al-Baqir sat down and Abu Hanifa sat beneath his position as a student sits in front of his teacher. Abu Hanifa then told him that he would put to him 3 questions and would like to have his answer. The first was, who is weaker, a man or a woman? Muhammad al-Baqir, a woman is weaker. Abu Hanifa, what is a woman's share of inheritance? Muhammad al-Baqir, a woman takes 1 share and a man 2 shares. Abu Hanifa, this is true according to your grandfather's religion. Had I changed it, then on the basis of analogy, a woman would have 2 shares, while a man would have 1 share. She would be thus favored because of her weakness. May I now ask, which is a more important and higher act of worship, prayer or fasting? Muhammad al-Baqir, prayer is more important. Abu Hanifa, this is as your grandfather said. Had I changed that, then analogy would dictate that when a woman finished her period, she would compensate for her missed prayer and not for her missed fasting. Now for my third question, which carries more impurity, urine or semen? Muhammad al-Baqir, urine is more impure. Abu Hanifa, had I changed your grandfather's religion, I would have ordered men to take a full shower after urinating instead of after ejaculation. But far be it from me to change any point in your grandfather's religion on the basis of analogy. At this point, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir rose and hugged Abu Hanifa and kissed him on his face. This report clearly shows the high standing Muhammad al-Baqir had among scholars. He would call them and question them about what was reported to him of their view, like a master taking issue with his subordinates. None of them would question his master's role. Indeed, by the time his father died, Muhammad al-Baqir was an imam in his own right. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir achieved scholarship in commenting on the Quran and explaining its meaning. He was also a fine scholar of fiqh, with a sharp insight into the purpose behind Islamic teaching. Moreover, he related to the Prophet's tradition, whether they were reported by members of his family or by his companions, making no distinction between them. Moreover, he was a man of great wisdom. His saying revealed sharp moral insight and would form a high moral code. To quote some of them, when a man allows arrogance to creep into him, he is deprived of a similar measure of wisdom. If you see a scholar keen on befriending rich people, then know that he is in pursuit of worldly riches. And if he unnecessarily frequents the courts of rulers, he is a thief. He once said to his son, Jafar al-Shadi, beware of laziness and boredom, because they are the key to all evil. If you are lazy, you will not be able to do a single duty, and if you are bored, you will have no patience to fulfill what is due of you. His father, Ali Zainul Abidin, turned his back to all political concerns. He also imposed on his supporters the need to disregard all political controversy. However, the Shia were harboring feelings and trying to group supporters, particularly in Iraq. It appeared that he had supporters ready to receive his order, but they also were prone to go too far in expressing hatred of some of the Prophet's companions, particularly Abu Bakr and Umar. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir took them to task on this and pointed out to them that he viewed the Prophet's companions with great respect. The following report is sufficient to explain this. A supporter of his called Urwa ibn Abdullah reports that he asked Muhammad al-Baqir about ornamenting the handle of one sword with gold. He answered that it was all right because Abu Bakr Siddiq did it. The man said, and you call him a Siddiq. Muhammad al-Baqir jumped off his place and turned toward the Qibla and said, Indeed he is. Indeed he is. May God never approve anything said by anyone who denies him this status. As-Siddiq is a title given to Abu Bakr by the Prophet in recognition of his unhesitating endorsement of everything the Prophet said, even though it might have seemed impossible at the time. Muhammad al-Baqir is also quoted to have said to Jabir al-Jafi, a Shia supporter, Jabir, I am told that a group in Iraq who claim to love us, meaning the descendants of Ali, abused Abu Bakr and Umar, claiming that I have ordered them to do so. Inform them that I disown them in front of God. By him who holds my soul in his hand, if I were to rule, I would seek God's pleasure by putting such people to death. May I never receive the Prophet's prayer on my behalf if I would not pray God to forgive Abu Bakr and Umar and have mercy on them. But God's enemies are oblivious to their great honor. Therefore, inform them that I disown them and disown anyone who denies Abu Bakr and Umar, their high priests. May God be pleased with them both. Muhammad al-Baqir had two students of great achievement, his younger brother Imam Zayd ibn Ali and his own son Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. Muhammad al-Baqir died in 114 after Hijrah. May God shower his blessing on him. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.